Hello and welcome and thank you for tuning into episode 1 of the Hurt Sportsbook, UFC Vegas 50 edition. I'm your host Tiz, joined by my co-host Rob, and today we're going to help you break down this upcoming fight card from a daily fantasy sports and a betting perspective, help you become the most profitable MMA bettor and DFS player that you can be, and make every fight card that much more exhilarating for you. We've got a good one here on deck for sure. The headliner, Magomed Ankalaev, taking on Thiago Santos, and an interesting one for sure. The odds will reflect that. The price tags will reflect that as well, but we'll get into that in just a sec. Before we get started,
I hope I do a little better than last if I decide to go
that's the beauty of daily fantasy sports. There's always, at least in MMA's case, there's always next week, but before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe down below. Would greatly appreciate it. Go a long way. And without further ado, we can just jump right into this one. It's like I said, it's an interesting one for sure. Obviously up the top, you've got Ankalaev, who's just on a tear right now. Just looks like one of the UFC's just most proven up-and-coming commodities right now, and showing really no signs of slowing down, I don't think. And he, especially here with Thiago Santos, Thiago Santos, he's been around for sure. He's definitely got some stain to his name, but it's been a rough go of it lately, and this isn't the greatest matchup for him, I don't think, whatsoever. Especially, like I said, with the tear that Ankalaev is on right now.
I mean, Thiago beat Johnny Walker, but, this guy, Magomed Ankalaev is the real deal. I have a lot of faith there. This is definitely
a step up for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, here, while I'm looking at the DraftKings price tags right now, you got Ankalaev at the top, checking in at a $9,600 price tag. The odds books right now for DK... It's looking at, whoops, let me just change that back real quick. There we go. Scroll down. You've got, I looked at this yesterday. I want to see if maybe it changed overnight or something, but.
Probably not by much.
Probably not. So yeah, you'll see. Magomed Ankalaev is a minus 490 favorite to beat Thiago Santos tomorrow night. Thiago Santos checking in at plus 360. That's for DraftKings. FanDuel, probably not much different. You'll see that. Yeah, FanDuel, it's even greater. He's got Ankalaev as a minus 620 favorite.
I might be a little disrespectful.
So maybe on FanDuel there might be some value in Thiago Santos.
Because he could win by knockout, but the thing that worries me with him too is he has all that knockout power, but he's also getting old. I think he's 37 or 38, and Magomed Ankalaev, I know for a fact, is 29. So he's just entering his physical prime, and Thiago is on his way out of it. And I don't think he's been as explosive as he needs to be since that John Jones fight, because he messed up his knees so bad there. But yeah, I just think.
I think with this fight, you're gonna see more of more technical, not as much volume in terms of strikes and shots being thrown, but at least for Ankalaev's case, I guess you can expect to see a lot of shots being landed, and
very calculated and accurate. With his
for sure. You're definitely paying the price for it. $9,600, you definitely want a finish there, which obviously is not far out of the range of outcomes for whatsoever, but
decent chance, I'd say. Could be.
Yeah,
he's very calculated when he fights. So maybe it depends on how Thiago fights in return, I think, because he really, Ankalaev, I'm saying, he lets his finishes really just come to him, and so if Thiago's not really engaging, he might not get one. So just keep that in mind. That's for sure. But
looking at some props here, I want to see. Let me just head over to DK real quick, see what maybe odds for a finish are looking like. And let's go to winning method.
I see you quickly realizing that my mouse is broken.
Yeah, I have to say laptop. I usually just use the actual pad to click, so I have to just
had a bad night
using
doing homework one time and just Slammed it.
Yeah, it's all good.
No, you gotta love science.
Scrolling down, I'm gonna see that. Almost there.
Jesus.
And
it's longer than a CVS receipt.
yeah, these are all the different types of fighting methods. So, Magomed Ankalaev to win by knockout, it's actually like there's not much value in this line at all. It's just a plus 110 to win by a knockout, TKO, anything of the sort. To win by submission, plus 800. I mean, that makes more sense. I think that's more out of the range of outcomes for to happen than.
I don't know. I think that's like the knockout would have to be very opportunistic, and I don't know if Thiago is going to be shooting takedowns that are going to like lead to that.
No, I don't think he wants that. I think if Thiago like this gets into the clinch, if this gets into a clinch up against the cage or anything like that, or even to the ground and then to the ground, like it's just a lot is just favoring Ankalaev here, and
yeah. I don't really see too many paths besides a knockout for Thiago, to be honest, if he's going to win. But
Thiago Santos to win by decision is plus 1,000. To win by knockout, TKO plus 600. So,
I mean, it's not bad if you want to throw like a little bit of money on it.
Yeah, like
it's definitely possible. He has the power to do it.
Like you kind of pointed to, like you kind of alluded to before, like maybe on FanDuel, like as it stands right now, like as a plus, what is it, 4? I'm trying to find it.
Wasn't FanDuel like plus like 6 something? Or no, Ankalaev was like a minus 600.
Yep, minus 620, and then you got Santos at plus 460. Like
that's pretty
extreme.
far apart.
Looking at the FanDuel price tags for daily fantasy, you got Ankalaev obviously at the top, as here as well, $23 on FanDuel. I don't know if we prefaced this in the introduction video for like breaking down the daily fantasy and scoring and all of that.
I think we did a little bit, but if you
FanDuel salary goes by $100. So Magomed Ankalaev is checking in 20, and then you get 6 fighters obviously to roster. He's checking in at 23 at the top, and then Santos is 13, and then Santos price tag on DK 6,600. So I mean, like obviously like.
It's a gamble. I mean, that's the name of the game, right?
Exactly. Multiple lineups and all that. You want to take a shot here and there with Santos, then by all means. But,
I definitely wouldn't have it in like your main lineup though. Like,
all in all, this isn't really like a fight you really like even need to like.
Yeah, I don't
get
know.
To. I don't
There's
think.
not too much value. I feel like since the sports books, they kind of like agree with like everyone else, like with what's probably going to end up happening. There's just I don't know. I don't really think there's much wiggle room here because I don't think they're wrong.
A spot I actually do think like still like a spot like you're going to be paying a bit of the piper for, but I actually like this more and think this makes more sense than the main event. It's with Song Yadong and Marlon Moraes. Marlon Moraes was just unfortunately on the decline, just in a rough go of it as of late, just taking on just a bunch of dudes that are just, quite frankly, at this point in time, just superior to him, and not much is really.
There's not much positivity to look for at this point.
Not much different here with the fight against Song Yadong. Marlon Moraes, just at this point in time, just not a great gas tank. Like you're rostering him, you're betting on him, you're looking for that finish. Song Yadong is probably just gonna wear him out, whether it's gonna go the full distance or if it's gonna end in a finish. But
he's just gonna probably walk him down. As long as he gets through that first round and a half, that's what the story is with Marlon Moraes. As long as he gets through that, I think Song Yadong has it. But I don't see Marlon knocking out Song, honestly.
Nah, I mean, on Dickey you get Yadong for $400 discount to Magomed Ankalaev at 9,200. I think I definitely would prefer to spend up there. On FanDuel is 22. For as far as the odds go, the odds are definitely not as I guess at least on FanDuel, not as egregious as the main event.
What are they? I'm kind of
Yadong is a minus 250. Moraes is a plus 205.
That's on
FanDuel for DraftKings.
Okay.
So just get out of the winning methods for a sec, and then we've got relatively the same. Yadong minus 240, Marlon Moraes plus 195.
That's not too bad, honestly. I mean, I'd say that's around what it should be because Marlon's fought so many guys, and then Song Yadong, he's still like coming up, but I really think that he's improved a lot, and I think that he's gonna do really well in this fight most likely because I think Moraes, he's had so many fights at this point. I feel like the tape on him is just there, and like all these coaches could, especially because I think Song trains at Uriah Faber's gym. Team Alpha Male, and I think that those coaches are definitely well equipped to watch some film and find the flaws for him to exploit.
Yeah, so I mean, I just for me, I just see I see Song Yadong just landing a lot of shots and whatnot, and I could see Marlon hanging in there as far as like going the distance and whatnot, but I don't really see him getting the decision he'll be looking for. So, while you're still paying, like I said, you're still paying the price for a Song Yadong in this one. I think that I personally believe that holds more value. I think it's more likely to see a finish there, at least like an early first round finish. Second round finish, anything of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
a slightly cheaper price tag as well.
Both these guys definitely go for it more than Ankalaev in the main event. They're more like.
And you said you think the odds are more about accurate for
Yeah, because I mean, you can't completely count out Marlon just because of the people who he has lost to are all at the top of the division. So I mean, if Song is under that. And maybe Marlon's not as past it as people think, he could definitely pull off the upset here. But I don't know. I don't see it. I think Song is only getting better, and then Marlon's just declining a little bit. And I think it's just one of those things where he's going one way, he's going the other.
Yeah, and Fado definitely kind of agrees with me in the sense that if this goes to the scorecards, that it's probably going to favor Song Yadong. He's a plus 370 on FanDuel to win by decision. Marlon Moraes plus 1,000. Or no, that's put Marlon Moraes by submission. Marlon Moraes by points is a plus 500. So, I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's about fair. And then on DraftKings, look at... Scrolling down.
What do we got here? Who's going to make some money for them?
We've got...
Next time we should definitely put this in like a Google Doc first. I'm starting to realize this. But it's all good.
Especially the winning, it's so long. But yeah, Song Yadong win by knockout TKO is a minus 110. To win by submission plus 900. To win by decision plus 350. And Marlon Moraes plus 500. So I think the books are, relatively about the same as far as
Yeah, FanDuel straight out on the main event was just disrespecting Thiago.
Moraes on FanDuel for his DFS price just $9. I mean,
that's not that bad, honestly. I'd rather put him in my lineup than put Thiago, because I think that there's more of a chance that Marlon would win.
So the cheapest fighter on FanDuel is $8. So you've got that is Sabino Mazo.
That's not that bad. She's fighting. We can go to that fight if
Miranda
you want.
Maverick. Yeah, we're gonna jump to that.
Yeah.
Well, we're actually gonna dissent a little bit then because I love Miranda Maverick.
Yeah, no, she is. That's a good fight though. I'm intrigued for that one. That's on the prelims too, that means you might be able to find some good value for DFS too, because it's not as high profile.
Yeah, I mean,
You're the expert.
Maybe I don't love Miranda Maverick because the price tag's there, especially DraftKings, $9,400. So she's literally in the middle of Song Yadong.
Yeah, so they pretty much they think what we think pretty much.
Mazzo's is $6,800. So
people are counting her out. She's not.
You think so?
I think Miranda is definitely the more polished prospect, and I still think she's gonna win. But this is definitely not.
But probably not just something that. So in terms of like, because obviously for DraftKings, like reversal sweeps, those are all very important and whatnot. How do you like see the fight? Let's say Miranda Maverick, if she wins this fight, like how do you think
I think
plays out?
Miranda's definitely gonna if she's gonna win, it's gonna be on the feet. I don't have
okay,
and that's not really saying like in particular because of like Sabina Mazo's ground game. I'm just saying because like after that Blanchfield fight, who knows like where her confidence on the ground is, and I think that in this fight she's probably gonna want to get back to her bread and butter, and if Mazo can see that coming, this might trend in her favor. We'll see. I mean, it's interesting. I always am intrigued by when the younger fighters lose early, when people don't really think that they're gonna lose, because then I'm curious to see how they rebound from that, and that'll say a lot going forward, in my opinion, about her.
So on FanDuel, Maverick is a minus 320, Mazo's a plus 260, and on DK, it's about the same, minus 335 for Miranda Maverick and plus 260 for Sabina Mazo. So, I
think it's the same thing as Song versus Marlon, except I think Miranda's probably going to win this one. But I think it's just because she's fought more people and she's bigger name, and she has wins over some decent people. And I think Mazo's still getting there. So that makes sense. I'm with that.
Yeah, maybe it was a stretching a little bit with how I love Miranda Maverick, because everything's in terms of the lines and all that and price tags, it's all there already. But interesting take by you. If you really think,
I'm not saying Mazo's gonna win. I'm just saying that it's definitely not as far apart as some people think it is.
So she's 6,800 on DraftKings. Do you think that she can do enough to maybe return at least something that can?
If she wins, yeah. But if you think she's gonna win, then maybe. But I think if she loses, it'll be probably because Miranda, she fights more in she has a chess match type striking style. Not really she's not really always trying to finish the fight, go crazy, and even with female fights, finishes are definitely a little less common just because of the smaller weight classes. But yeah, I don't know. Depends. If you think she's going to win, maybe, but I don't know. I think there's probably some better ones on this card. Well, we were talking about the one fight before we came on here. I'm curious to hear about it. The Drew Dober versus Terrence McKinney.
Yeah, I'm really looking
price
forward
tags
to
and odds, honestly, because you told me the odds are pretty close, but you didn't really mention anything with the price tags.
So DraftKings, Drew Dober checks in another. There's just a preface. There are a ton of 9K fighters on this card. I would say you can't really go wrong, but you obviously can't roster all of them. So Dober's 9K flat, McKinney 7,200.
I just want to say this while you're going over to FanDuel. McKinney at 7,200, that is a good person. That's honestly someone that I'd think to put in my lineup anyway. Just because, even if, because
I could really
this fight's close, but Terrence McKinney is good. I have a lot of faith in him. Because this is definitely his toughest fight, though. I will say that. Just as what's the word? Just if you want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I feel like there could just be a lot of takedowns to be had in
You think?
in this one. Yeah.
Really, I don't know, because Terrence McKinney, he's got just as much power as Drew Dober, pretty much. That's why I feel like this fight might just be a war. I think these guys are gonna go for it.
Looking at, alright, so I'm going to pull up the DK betting odds.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, what are the odds on this one?
And it's we have a few pick'ems. This is one of them that leans towards it. Terrence McKinney is a plus 140. Dober's a minus 160 for DraftKings, and then for FanDuel.
I can't imagine it's too far off.
Probably not. And then we're gonna.
I was so excited
when
I saw this get booked.
Let's get the props think as well. Dober minus 174, Terrence McKinney plus 146.
Yeah, it's pretty close, but
So at least for DFS, there really is some value to be had in Terrence McKinney here. $11 on FanDuel.
That's pretty good, man. This is not I'm surprised that they're favoring, especially because of the odds. I'm surprised that they're favoring Drew Dober so highly with their with the salary, But 7,200 on DraftKings, and then you said 11 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
That's pretty good value for someone like Terrence McKinney. I would not be shocked if he won this fight.
Terrence McKinney to win by knockout or TKO plus 380 on FanDuel.
That's another that could happen. I mean, this is one of those fights, in my opinion, that anything could really happen on the feet, because I think these two dudes are going to come in and stand and trade. But I mean, we'll see if any of them throw a curveball.
Part of me feels like the odds makers and all that, like kind of like they like feel the way you do, and like because usually like you'll see on the day of like the lines they'll stabilize and they'll become like relatively more like accurate. I feel like you could see this become even more of a pick'em tomorrow than it is right now. But
That's
right now,
crazy.
I mean, obviously, like I mentioned in the introduction video, like once the the slate gets posted, the card gets posted for DraftKings and FanDuel Daily Fantasy, like that's it. It's final. They can't change the price tags or anything.
I was about to ask you that because I kind of forgot. So they don't change the prices at all during fight week.
Nope.
It's just what
it is. What it is.
Gotcha.
So $7,200 Terrence McKinney.
Yeah, that is amazing. Oh my god, I wonder what the odds started at then. If that was, I mean, it doesn't matter, but that's some good value definitely for fantasy on either app for Terrence McKinney for sure. I'm actually glad we went over that. That's good to know. What's another fight I was curious about on this card was the first fight of the night, because it's the guy Tafon. I'm not going to butcher his last name. Versus Azamat. Tafon versus Azamat. That's what I'm going to say.
So we've got Azamat checking in at 8,800 on DraftKings, and then
what about Tafon?
7,400. So I mean,
yeah,
it's not.
They agree with me. Because I was gonna say I have a lot of faith in Azamat.
Yeah, it's a closer price gap than Dober and McKinney.
How about those odds though?
The odds, it's the first fight.
Let's see. Got DraftKings.
I'm going through DraftKings right now, and I don't even really see the fight.
I mean,
here.
Maybe it's just because it's the first. Well, no, because you could bet on the first fight of the night. DraftKings is sleeping on Azamat, man.
Let's see if there's like a.
Is there like a second page?
I don't see it here for some reason.
I'm going to say this for next time. We will definitely be a little more prepared. We had the content in mind. We just didn't. We should have laid this out a little better. But, hey, man, it's episode 1.
FanDuel at least. Okay, so.
Yeah, how about
Azamat's a minus 188.
Okay, all right. So it's
Tafon plus 158.
So they have it pretty close, actually. What about, like, what are some bets for, like, Azamat by finish, whether it be, like, submission or knockout? Doesn't really.
Azamat by KO plus 170.
What about
by decision plus 380. And then Tafon by knockout is plus 380. And then to win by decisions a plus 420. So essentially, like if this goes to the judges, like this could go literally like either way. Like,
yeah, I mean it's weird because Azamat, like when I was watching him on the Contender Series, his ground game is so good. Mm-hmm. But Tafani, he's got like a lot of power, man. It could, if he just catches him coming in, that could be pretty good when it comes to like Tafon by knockout. But I don't know. I remember I don't know if you remember this. This is like way back. We were talking on the like one of the demo pods we kind of did in preparation. We were talking about Azamat a little bit, and I think he like dominantly won his fight. So like I'm still on that train. I think he's really good.
Yeah, it's reflected in the price tags for sure.
Yeah, when you told me that he was as high of a price that he was, I was like, okay, that means they're starting to realize pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
But what are some other fights on this card that are good? There were a few on the main card that I remember we were talking. We just like talked about this too. We have.
I want to talk about. We could talk about Chris Matinho.
Oh yeah, he's fighting again. I'm actually excited for that.
I think because I'm interested to see what the price tag is looking here because.
Now I feel like I've seen Guido Canetti, the guy he's fighting. I feel like I've seen him fight like a bunch of times, but I don't remember much from it. Like so I feel like it's 50-50.
Well, there's a significant age gap here.
Really? I would assume that Canetti's probably older, right?
Yeah, Matinho's like significantly younger. I don't know like exactly, but
Matinho's not that bad, dude.
Yeah, with Matinho, like he's a guy that, and you saw it in the Sean O'Malley fight. That was a great showing. A guy who's got displayed a great chin.
Because I thought that was weird the way people were receiving that fight. Because at first everybody was like mad respect. He lasted that long. Should have been the distance. But then later on, I hear people saying, "Oh, they're overhyping him. He's Sean O'Malley's punching bag." And I'm like, "Come on, man! The guy took the fight on short notice."
Yeah.
And you know what I think about O'Malley. I think O'Malley's striking is the real deal. So to lose to him the way he did, I don't think that's anything to sleep on, especially considering the way he took the fight.
I think this is a fight the UFC's giving him
boost him a little bit.
Exactly.
They should, honestly, for what he did for them for that card. He saved that fight. What are some numbers?
So
here?
Matinho's a -155 on DraftKings and Kennedy's a +135. So not as much as
it's probably because they're both strikers. They're both gonna come in. They're not the type who are gonna have the chess match. They're gonna come forward and stand and bang. That's going to be a fun fight. That's for sure.
8,600 Matinho on DraftKings. Kennedy 76. So, I mean, like you just said, this one that just a lot of a volume fight, a lot of just strikes being thrown and all that. Maybe some value in a $7,600 Kennedy, perhaps.
It's possible. The thing is, we don't really know as much about Chris Matinho yet. You could watch his regional fights and see that he's definitely not that bad. He's a good fighter, but judging him in his one UFC fight off of Sean O'Malley, you're not going to get an accurate gauge because no one fights like Sean O'Malley. So,
Matinho by. Oh, say that one more time.
I was gonna say, what do you think? Do you agree with me, or you think that there is some value in Guido? It's possible. Like I said, I think it's going to be a slugfest, so anything can really happen.
So, I don't see myself getting there in DraftKings. I think we're just going to cover just other better values in that fighters in that price range that I'd just rather get to.
You have any off the top of your head? Just because
not necessarily at the top of my head. Terrence McKinney for one.
Yeah, that was crazy. I did not realize that it was that low because I haven't had a chance to look yet.
For FanDuel props, you got Matinho by decision as a +260, and then Kennedy as a +280. And then by TKO, Matinho +310, and then Kennedy's a +600. I think that I can agree with that. I don't necessarily.
I don't know. I just I don't.
Like you say, we don't know enough about Matinho yet.
Yeah, I want to see a little more. I feel like this fight will give us a better gauge at where he's at because I think Kennedy and Sugar Sean are on just two different levels in terms of that stacked division. But I think considering how far apart I think those two fights kind of are, I think we'll be able to tell really easily how good Chris actually is. I think Guido Kennedy's a guy that he could maybe have a showcase against if he is that good.
One if you really want to take in a cash game, if you really want to take a gamble on this fight altogether, and
it's not it's not bad. That's for sure. You're not going wrong.
There's certainly upside to it for sure, and I think the price tags they're fine. But one fight I did actually want to cover was on the main card. Talking about Alex Caceres and
that's the fight Yusuf. I forgot. Remember I said there was one other fight on the main card? That's the one I'm thinking of.
So here we just have another 9K fighter in Sadiq Yusuf. Well deserved. Honestly, one of my favorite night. If I were to rank all these 9K fighters, Yusuf would be up there at the top. He's 9,100, Caceres 7,100.
I always say this, and I'm not saying I don't really know who's gonna win this fight. I think this is one of those 50-50 ones.
I think just with Caceres, obviously I'm not taking some hot take by saying this, but this is obviously a quite the step up in the competition he's faced.
I agree.
He's on for him he's on a streak and all of that. He has riding momentum coming into this fight, but Sadiq Yusuf is no slouch whatsoever.
The thing that I see that when I was thinking about this fight, and the reason why I don't have a set prediction for it is because I think that Sadiq Yusuf is definitely way better than his last opponent, but I think that they fight in a very similar way, coming forward, throwing power shots, and the thing is, like I said, I think Sadiq is better, so I think he's probably gonna have a better chance. But the other thing is that people never seem to talk about when it comes to Alex's fights. He is so elusive. Like his movement, not just head movement, like footwork too. The way he gets out of the way of punches and then comes right back with counters is incredible. Like I never count him out because of that and just his experience. And I remember the last time that he fought against that guy Wu, I had him in my lineup, and he actually got me some like decent money out of it. Like I won some money on that card because of him. Like he was such a low value, like he is here, and or not low value, but low salary. I mean, and when I picked him, it was definitely a good pick. So I mean, that's someone that I wouldn't mind taking like a gamble on. But like I said, I think it's a little less likely than it was in his last fight.
Yeah. That's fair for sure. I just
wanted to point that out because, like I said, past history, it served me well because they always have him priced low.
This fight, like, altogether just has the potential to just be fireworks, I think. Like, you should just see.
They're both fun to watch. It'll definitely be a good fight. What are the odds for it?
So,
I'm curious
on FanDuel, we've got Sadiq Yusuff by decision is a plus 145, and then Caceres by decision is a plus 400. And Yusuff by knockout is a plus 200. Caceres by knockout, get this, is plus 950.
I don't think he's going to knock him out, though. I will say that. I think the plus 400 you said was on the decision one. I think that you could find some value in maybe, but I don't know about knockouts.
For
what about
DraftKings, we have these two.
What were like the straight up odds? I don't think you ever said. You might have, but...
For FanDuel, the straight up...
Yeah, like just what
straight up
for the
odds
fight.
Yeah, so Caceres is a plus 198 and Yusuff is a minus 240.
Okay,
and it's really fair. It's not all that different on a DraftKings either. Caceres plus 215, Yusuff minus 265. Okay. And then for
that's fair. Like I said,
honestly, I don't think a decision prop is like the worst bet in the world.
Like I said, for
I'm really interested to see.
What was it for a Sadiq? On both of them, I guess it doesn't really.
So Sadiq is a plus 140 on DraftKings to win by decision.
What about on
FanDuel? He's a plus 145.
Oh, so they really think he's gonna win by decision? I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like he could definitely finish this fight, but then again, like I said, Caceres is so crafty, and he's so good at like surviving. Because even in his last fight, if you watch it, he got hurt a few times and survived all the time, and then won the fight by rear naked choke. That's the other thing too. He has like the most crazy slick submission skills. Like he can hop on your back while you're standing, and he'll finish you with like a standing rear naked, like he did to his last opponent. And then he's just done that throughout his whole career. Like the way he's so flexible. That's what it is.
You mentioned the elusiveness too. Like in a fight like this, like head movement and all that, just movement in general is just so important.
I'm just excited. I have a similar like thought process on this fight that I do for the Dober McKinney one, as in like I'm just interested to see how Caceres is going to do with the big step up. Because like it's not the same as McKinney, because obviously Caceres has fought those upper echelon guys before, but it's been like a while, that's for sure. And he seems to be better than he really has been in a long time. And I'm just interested to see how that fares for him in this fight.
No, yeah, it looks like a pretty fun main card. And then another main card sleeper, honestly, that could turn out to be a really good fight. Alex Pereira taking on Bruno Silva. Pereira 8,900 on DraftKings, Silva 73. As far as take a look at the lines on DraftKings, we have Silva as a... We have Silva.
When you're done with that, you should look up Bruno Silva, his like record. I'm kind of curious because I feel like I definitely like know who he is, and I feel like that's not like this isn't an easy fight, but I might be wrong.
He is 22-6.
Yeah, who has he fought? Like just look him up on like Google, like go on good old Tapology. Never use Wikipedia. That's a tip for MMA fans out there. If you want to learn about like a fighter's history, use Tapology. That site is amazing.
Bruno Silva.
I'm interested. I feel like he's on like I want to say he fought someone like pretty good and beat him, but I might be dead wrong. So
Yeah, so he's 22-6, and his last fight came against.
It should be down. Yeah, it's at the bottom. Jordan Wright. That's right. It's a first round knockout. That was on one of the pay-per-views. That was a good fight. Who else has he fought? Andrew Sanchez, who's a tough guy. This is a good fight. Honestly, this is a good fight, but I don't know.
Yeah, in terms of similarities to the last fight, kind of like Caceres in a way. This is obviously quite the step up in competition against Alex Pereira. But I think there's another pretty decent value here in Bruno Silva. I could
see him getting it just by experience, honestly, because he has a lot more experience.
Yeah, he really
Isn't
has been
Pereira
around.
only he hasn't fought much, I don't think, in MMA. But
Silva's a plus 150 on FanDuel. Pereira's a minus 178. So the books are gonna favor Pereira in the sense he's been around in UFC longer and whatnot.
You mean because he hasn't been around longer in the UFC, but definitely in combat. He has more combat sports experience at a high level.
MMA,
that's for sure.
yeah.
But I don't think he hasn't fought much in MMA. Pereira, I think he's only 4-0, isn't he? I don't think he's fought much. I swear.
Yeah, he actually is only 4-1.
4-1. Oh, so he's lost.
Coming off the Mihalidis win.
Yeah, and that was an entry level fight. So even for him, this is a big step up. But then again, for Silva, when we were looking at his record, those guys that he beat, they're good, but they're not the level of striker that Pereira is. You can't sleep on his striking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when the similarities with the last fight. But yeah, he's a plus 160 on DraftKings per minus 190. And as far as some props go, you have...
I don't see Bruno winning by knockout. I wouldn't even read that one. I just... unless it's I can't see it.
Pereira to win by knockout, minus 135.
Jeez, all right, that's a little disrespectful. But
to win by decision's a plus 800. So they really...
What?
Pereira to win by decision, plus 800.
Plus 800?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that bad, honestly. I mean... For someone who's as unproven really as Pereira,
they just really think
level,
that he's gonna handle Silva.
Hey, I'm not saying he's not gonna. I'm just saying I want to see more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If the guy's only 4-1 and he's only fought one guy in the UFC, I'm not ready to hail him as the next champion yet.
FanDuel, it's even larger. Pereira to win by decision plus 950.
That is unbelievable.
That is.
Especially when you think about just in general in MMA, finishes aren't easy. It's not you see guys who get a lot of finishes, but you have to think about it from a fighting perspective. If you're in a fight, it is not easy to get a finish, especially if you're against another high-level guy. By
virtue of that,
that's crazy.
Pereira should be one of the most popular fighters on this card, by virtue of that.
Yeah, I would definitely, if anything, sprinkle some money on that.
FanDuel, Pereira's $20 and Silva is $11.
I think that the fantasy odds have it where it should be.
Yeah, the price tags are fine.
That one, oh my god. I'm still thinking about that. That's crazy.
Pereira
plus
is
900. You said plus 950 for one of them?
So, yeah, on DraftKings, Pereira's a plus 800 to win by decision. Plus 950 on FanDuel to win by decision.
It should not be that low of odds. That's definitely worth maybe exploring in terms of betting. But,
because obviously we can't know for sure what ownership looks like until after the fights and all that, but since my guess is that he's gonna be pretty popular, if not the most popular fighter in the slate, you'll probably see one of these more 9K guys just going flying under the radar a little bit. Maybe a Sadiq Yusuf.
You said there were a decent amount on this card. Did we talk about
there are. We talked about Kalaev, Yadong, Yusuf, Dober.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Semmelsberger yet.
Oh, that's actually good thing you said that. We were talking about that fight before we started recording too. I did want to touch on that. That's a good fight.
Yeah, so this
is AJ Fletcher.
Yeah, this is Semmelsberger taking on Fletcher. And Fletcher this is gonna be his UFC debut.
Wait, and they had Semmelsberger at not over 9K on DraftKings.
Over 9K. So
that is. You might find some value in AJ Fletcher. Then I'm gonna say that because these guys are both gonna stand and trade, and AJ Fletcher, I think they have a lot of faith in him because this is your UFC debut and they're already putting you on the highlighted prelim. They want to showcase you.
I know that I forget for who exactly, but I know there's a significant reach advantage here.
You should look that one up. You could do it. You definitely find that in a few seconds. But Yeah, man. Because when I watched AJ Fletcher in the Contender Series, and obviously that's a whole other ball game, but that flying knee knockout that he had was incredible. And I like Semmelsberger too. That's not what I'm saying. But, I think it might be Semmelsberger with the reach because I think he's pretty tall. But you might want to confirm that. I could be wrong.
I'll look
because I think AJ Fletcher for the division might have been on the shorter side. But
Semmelsberger is...
This is a welterweight? So, yeah.
Yeah, this is a welterweight bout. So, we've got Semmelsberger. He has a 75.
Okay, let's see AJ
75
Fletcher.
reach Fletcher. And, I think Fletcher's
Fletcher might be way shorter than I think that's...
The Ghost AJ Fletcher.
That's a cool nickname. The Ghost. I forgot about that. They definitely said that. He's 9-0 too.
9-0 in MMA. Yeah, 67.
Yeah, okay.
So it is a pretty significant reach advantage.
That's actually scary. That scares me a little bit. But
at welterweight too, that is like we were talking about Kevin Holland after the pay-per-view, that reach advantage at welterweight could be.
It just the thing is, and same thing with Kevin Holland, like you said, is Semmelsberger going to use it? And if he uses it, because he can brawl, but the thing is, he has so much power. Mm-hmm. So AJ Fletcher can't be caught slipping in any way. He'll definitely get stopped. But other way around too, I think AJ Fletcher has the same type of power, but obviously that reach advantage.
Fletcher's only just 6,900 on DraftKings.
I mean, I'd get not wanting to gamble with him just because there's a lot that you don't know.
FanDuel, I would definitely I'm not touching that. I mean, it's fine if you want to go to Semmelsberger. I'm not touching Fletcher on FanDuel. DraftKings, I think
you might be able to get something out of that.
You could definitely get something out of that, I feel like.
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion in any sense, but Semmelsberger is really good himself. But that's what I'm saying. To put him, AJ Fletcher I'm talking about, to put him against Semmelsberger in his UFC debut, they gotta know something. You can't, because you always see these other guys from the Contender Series. You put them in their debuts, they're against other lower names. But Semmelsberger, he's really good. Not in that upper echelon, but he's fought a lot of guys. He's had a lot of impressive performances that I've seen lately. And man, to put him up against AJ Fletcher, right? That's his debut against Semmelsberger.
Yeah,
that's interesting to me. I wonder if there's a reason for that. That's what I'm saying.
Fletcher on FanDuel is a plus 180. Semmelsberger minus 215. For props, you got Semmelsberger as a plus 125 to win by knockout.
What about Fletcher by knockout?
Fletcher by knockout is plus 550.
That's not that bad. There's definitely some value in this fight in both fantasy and betting, in my opinion.
That's just for FanDuel, DraftKings.
Yeah, the
money line.
I'll let you finish, and I'll say what I was going to say.
Semmelsberger minus 190, Fletcher plus 160, and then the winning methods, you get Semmelsberger is a plus 120 to win by knockout, plus 300 win by decision. Semmelsberger's kind of the same thing on DraftKings, plus 500 to win by knockout.
I don't know. It's just with this fight, it's just because we were saying before this even started, with this podcast, it's great because you have the betting and fantasy expertise, and I could think about it from the fighting perspective, and not because I fight, but just because I've seen so much of this fight. I feel I understand it at a good point, and I can think from the promotions perspective. And I keep saying that with the UFC putting him as an AJ Fletcher against Semmelsberger in his debut, I would note that because they're not doing that for no reason. They're very calculated in the way that they match make their fights. And I think that if they're putting him against someone Semmelsberger in his debut, I think that there could definitely be some hidden value in AJ Fletcher that maybe we just haven't seen yet.
Yeah, so the difference between not necessarily difference, but with UFC more than the traditional DFS sports and all that, there's just more intangibles and variables that you can factor in to making a lineup where because there's just not as much numbers and whatnot.
Yeah. The other thing I like too is just because you were saying in the intro video for this in team sports it's so much harder to get because you can affect someone else's performance.
Exactly. Team sports, every player in that game is being affected by everyone else, whether it's on the other team or on their team.
And in fighting, it's just one-on-one. So, if AJ Fletcher is actually as good as maybe the UFC thinks he is, and he pulls off a massive upset here, well, maybe not by the odds, but just by DFS perspective, I guess.
There's a ton of value in that.
Yeah. I like that fight in terms of, actual like making money.
I
like it anyway, just for watching
and it's like I think the books like get because I don't. It's not like some like maybe like the
the odds were definitely
win,
close.
The odds are really not as like
for
crazy
fantasy though. I like it a little bit if you want to like gamble with that. I'm definitely gonna look into this card this weekend because like full disclosure, even like with the pod, like there's not always value in every single fight card, so I'm not gonna play just like a fight card just to play it. You know what I mean? But this one, honestly, I see some interesting ones here. I like this. I might have to.
And like, once again, like you're not short of like pay up options whatsoever. Like you have a ton of 9K fighters on DraftKings. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 $20 fighters on FanDuel. So I mean, like,
wow, you could definitely find.
In which case, like a value like AJ Fletcher, like it could prove to be like really important, like getting you to like those pay up guys that you want to get to. So but one last fight that I really wanted to dive into before we wrap this up, Carl Robinson, Khalil Roundtree. I think fight. This is probably the most like.
That's a slept-on fight.
Even kill fight like we have on this card, and it's reflecting in the price tags as well. You have Carl Robinson as 8,200 on DK. Roundtree not far behind at 8K.
That's definitely good in my opinion. They're pretty, like you said, they're very even, but they fight very different styles. I'll get into that, I guess, after you're done talking about
we can definitely get into that. And then around DraftKings, for as far as odds go, we have Roundtree as a plus 110, Robinson as a minus 130.
That deserves to be close. Like, I mean, these guys, like the way that they fight, Robertson is a really good striker, just like Khalil Roundtree. But Khalil Roundtree lately, he's been really in that just like that typical Muay Thai high shell, a lot of teeps, and like he throws that nasty oblique kick. Remember that in his last fight against Bukauskas? He literally that ended the fight. I'd never seen that before in the UFC.
Here's a fight like I actually like think, whereas opposed to
And then Roberson, he's just coming at you with guns blazing. He's got so much power, and I think I'm pretty sure he has like decent wrestling, but I could be wrong about that, honestly.
Like, even more here for than I thought with Dober and McKinney. Obviously, Dober and McKinney, that has all the potential in the world to just be just an all-out war on the feet. Robertson, in terms of takedown upside, I think
you could definitely get some value there. I mean,
8,200. I actually really like that price tag for Robertson for sure. On FanDuel, you have Robertson as checking in at only 16, and then Roundtree is 15.
Okay. I mean, you're going to find that.
I feel like in terms of just, like, what's, like, going to be optimal, like, what the winning... I feel like at least one of these guys is going to be in, like, the winning lineup.
Yeah, I think you could definitely pick one of them, and it'll be, like, a good decision depending on who it is, obviously. Could be a gamble. Could be, like, my Jalen Turner, Jamie Millarky pick and go completely the other way if you pick the wrong guy, but... I think that's definitely a fight that you want to look at in terms of just like a mid-tier like salary and then putting that in your lineup because I think it's 50-50, to be honest. Like anybody could win that one. Yeah. So you're really just taking a gamble.
So we got Robertson by decision on FanDuel as a plus 320. Roundtree by decision plus 500. And then...
That's actually not that bad, Roundtree by decision. If you want to put some money on that.
Roundtree by knockout is plus 200. Robertson by knockout is plus 250.
Yeah, that's not that bad.
I feel like in Roberson's case, like if he's going to win by, I feel like it's more of a TKO that could end in like a ground and pound.
Yeah, because Khalil Roundtree's style, it permits him keeping Roberson at like a distance. Like if he can keep him at a distance, he's probably going to win the fight. And then vice versa, if Roberson can
maybe you could see Roundtree, like obviously like by virtue of like the Muay Thai style and all that, maybe you see Roundtree like control the center a little bit better.
One question, and I think you can go on Tapology to find this again. What are their reaches? Because I think that'll matter in this fight, especially for Roundtree.
So Roundtree has
I feel like
the War Horse. That's a badass nickname.
Why do I feel like I've never heard some of these guys' nicknames until now?
So Roundtree is a 74 reach.
Okay. It's not, I mean...
Roberson
that's decent. We'll see. Kind of curious. If his is longer, then might be a problem.
Carl Baby K. Roberson. It's 74. So
so yeah, all right, yeah,
very similar.
Wow, that's crazy, man. This fight really is just like one of those pick'em type fights, in my opinion.
This man card looks like a.
I'm excited. There's a lot of good strikers like going against each other. I feel like we're in for a lot of like barn burner type fights in terms of just watching it.
Main event, maybe not so much. I think that's probably gonna be more of like a slower.
Yeah. You want to cover that real quick? Because like at the end of every video, just so you guys know, we'll give like our main event prediction, and maybe for the pay-per-views, we'll give like co-main and another fight maybe. But for this one, we're just gonna do the main event, and we kind of touched on it obviously, but I think Magomed Ankalaev is the real deal. I think his striking is outstanding, and his takedown defense is incredible. Like his only loss, I think, is to Paul Craig, and that was a while ago.
So just looking at the winning methods for the main event again, Ankalaev by decision on DraftKings is checking in at the time of this recording is checking in at a plus 140.
Yeah.
So I mean, like
that's what it like.
Yeah, that's
it's
the
gonna
most
be
likely
similar to that,
obviously.
Just because. Like I said, he's gonna wait for the finish. He's never gonna go out of position to finish somebody. And if I think there's two ways that this can go. I think that either Thiago Santos has to just like go balls to the wall, just like literally, just try and blitz him and try and hit him that way, and maybe catch him off guard. But then again, when he fought. Magomed fought Kutelaba. That's what Kutelaba tried to do, and it didn't end well for him in either of those fights. But then the other way he could fight is how he's kind of just been fighting lately is circle, 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 and then like explode in when you need to, or just stay behind like the jab. Because he does have pretty good boxing. Mm-hmm. It's pretty underrated because of his power, but I don't know. Against Ankalaev, I just don't see it going very well.
Yeah. Once again, just like some of my thoughts from like, daily fantasy perspective and all that. And even like just the betting industry as well. It's just, I just don't see the need to like really just force in on, especially with, once again, just how many $9K fighters on DraftKings, how many $20 fighters on FanDuel we have on this card as well. I just don't really see the need to just force in Ankalaev just because like,
yeah.
Barring anything drastic, like he's gonna win this.
Maybe
fight.
in like a parlay, if you're gonna have a parlay, if you end up with like decent odds at the end of it, if you want to stick him in there, you can get some money out of it maybe, but not any straight bets or I don't think even any prop bets.
Not any like crazy value and all that. But.
I just think Ankalaev is so good, man. Like when I was watching his fights, like in preparation for like the prediction. I'm impressed because he can fight moving forward and moving backwards, which is why I think Santos is kind of screwed because no matter like what way he goes, like no matter what way he approaches this fight, Ankalaev is well equipped to deal with it.
Yeah, I believe there's a 7-fight win streak for Magomed Ankalaev. Okay. Like that is crazy. So I mean, this guy is
I think it's Ankalaev. I'm assuming you agree.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Hands down. But just to like just cover any more like other potential values and
anything solid before we leave
going under the radar on this card. The JJ Aldrich and
Gillian Robertson.
Gillian Robertson.
That's not a bad fight. Order some.
You got Robertson checking in at 8,500 on DraftKings. Aldrich 7,700.
Okay.
I feel like that could really go.
You said Aldrich was 7,700?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. That's one of those fights that, like, and this is for both of them, honestly. Like, some nights they come and then they look incredible, and then some nights they'll come in and then they don't look good at all. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I mean, for me personally, I'm definitely going to stay away from it just because I don't really know what I'm getting because, like I said, with Gillian Robertson, especially Gillian Robertson, she can get a first-round submission or she could just, like, get just dominated throughout the whole fight on the feet.
Yeah, I think her price tag on DraftKings is more than fair. I think at 8,500 too for, like, that kind of volatility. Yeah. So, if you want to take a shot on Aldrich, maybe you get, like, a boring decision win, like, by all means.
I don't know. I think they're both like a little bit too unpredictable. Not really one you want to get a ton of exposure to. So I think it'll be a decent fight though. I like both of them. I'm not even saying that. I think they're both interesting fighters, but I don't know. Not for betting or fantasy maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
I think that might be it, right? Unless there's another one you see in there.
We have. If you want to touch on, we had
another good
Dolce.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know either of them. I'm not gonna try and like lead people in one way or the other. So you guys want to experiment there.
I think we did a pretty
I think
pretty
that's
good job
enough. If they can't find any value out of what we gone over today, gambling might
exactly.
Not just be for them.
This looks like a really good card from just plenty of pay up options and because I don't think you're really short of like solid like underdog picks as well, like AJ Fletcher you just talked about.
The one that I want to highlight and just like one last time to really just hammer the point home, I think Terrence McKinney might be the best pick under like that threshold of like
$7,200 McKinney. So like just to cover like the $7K price range on DraftKings real quick, you have Caceres, Marlon Moraes.
Caceres is not a bad one too, like I said, but my top pick for those types of guys would be Terrence McKinney because I think he could very well win that fight.
Yeah, it's I don't think like the price difference between him and Dober should be like as wide as it is. I mean on FanDuel it's a bit more like reasonable. Dober 19, McKinney 11, but DraftKings it's pretty significant. So that's definitely a good value.
Well, I mean we've been talking about McKinney a lot, and I guess I'll say this for Dober. Dober's really good too.
Exactly.
I'm not even saying McKinney's gonna win. I'm just saying that I think it's definitely very possible. Mm-hmm. I think it's a lot more of a pick'em type fight than people realize it is.
So.
And confidence matters, too, because Terrence McKinney has been on a run lately. So that's going to matter a lot when you're trending upwards the way he is. But, yeah, like you were saying, this is just a good card. A lot of money in it. And just in terms of watching it, I think there's just a lot of good stylistic matchups. So
should be a fun one for sure. So remember, keep an eye on those lines, see if they change on the day of, because usually that's when they really stabilize. And, that's what, that's when the value really presents itself. Heading into the card, but other than that, thank you all for watching. We hope you win all the money that you can off this card. Enjoy it from a real fighting perspective and from a financial perspective.
Yeah, it should be fun.
We will catch you on Monday.